all good?
Yep.
Hi all, my name is Romeo Ayu. I'm a firefighter at Burwood Fire Station. Welcome to the live Q&A. Today we're going to be doing a run through the station, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions on Facebook. I also speak Arabic, so for any Arabic speaking people, كتب عربي في كلمة بالعربي كمان في يجاوب عن العربي. So anyone who speaks Arabic can ask questions in Arabic or English, doesn't make a difference. Okay, so I said my name is Romeo Ayu. I've been a firefighter here for 16 years. To my right here is Station Officer Chris Sykes.
Hello.
We've also got two members, Michael Gomez and Darren Nolan. We're going to be running through a few things in the station today. Behind me is the Burwood Fire Station truck. The station, we've got an old truck here to my left as well. We've got here for the occasion. 1929 Dennis, I've been told. This is what they used to fly around in the old days. Chris might know a bit more about that. But yeah, so any questions come up so far? Nothing yet? Okay. We basically spend a 24-hour shift at the station as a crew. So we come in the morning, we spend a full 24-hour shift here. We do a lot of things besides firefighting. We do a lot of training on shift. We do a lot of inspections out in the field. There's much more to firefighting than just holding a hose and spraying water. We're a rescue station at Burwood, so we do a lot of rescue stuff as well, so a lot of car accidents, also animal rescues, industrial rescues and so on. So it isn't just about firefighting. Other stations will actually do also what they call hazmat, so there's a fair bit of things to do with firefighting besides just fighting fires. We've also, Michael here will show you what we do as part of our rescue. We do a lot of industrial rescues, which include ring removals and so on. And I'll just put you across to Michael and show you some photos of that too.
Well, first of all, we'll just show you some of our rescue equipment. So we have all sorts of gear for different things. So as Romeo mentioned, we don't just do fires, we do car rescues. We do domestic rescues, and we do industrial rescues. These are the spreaders and the shears that we use to remove people out of cars. We have a whole bunch of blocks that we use to lift things and stabilise things. And then on the other side, we also have power saws and chainsaws. As Michael said, we might use these for car accidents, but we also might use those to force entry to a building after hours. It might actually be used to force bars off windows on premises if they're secured and we need to gain access, or gain access to a factory that's on fire. We might have those used to go through a roller shutter door or the like. So anything that's in our way to gain access to a fire we'd use on our truck to gain access. So a few more tools on our truck because it's rescue, but a lot of stations have exactly the same equipment.
Jacqueline's asking how long you've been here at this station for.
I've been here quite a few years, since 2000. So I'm due to retire in the next year or so. Just waiting for my son to join the job, who joins and starts at the training college next week. So. Yeah, but I've been in the job for 40 years, so.
Impressive.
So as I said before, we'll do some industrial rescues at the also we do ring removals. So Michael is going to show you our kit for ring removals. We're just getting it set up. And just over here, there's some photos of recent jobs that we've done. This is a jade bracelet removal. So we had a patient who had a broken arm, and the swelling prevented her from taking the bracelet off. This is another one of a ring removal. Again, an elderly patient. So we actually have gear to do this sort of work in. Michael here is going to show you the kit.
Okay, so over here we have our finger kit. So what we have here is a pretty regular call that we get over here. Sometimes people have rings that are stuck on their finger, or for some reason someone might have a nut. So we'll use this nut as a bit of an example, and Chris will put it on his finger. And then what we'll do is we'll demonstrate how we would cut a ring off. This is a arrangement of tools we have that we use for any small entrapments. We call it our finger kit. So I'll just set up our tools. And what we have here is, one of the first things we do here is provide protection. So we'll just set Chris up so he's in a comfortable position.
Should have gloves on for this, but just for demonstration purposes.
A little bit more. Okay, so we have this little table vise that we can attach to most tables. It allows us to create a nice stable surface and stop the object from moving. We then use the fire blanket here to provide a bit of protection to Chris's arm. And then what we do is we have little plastic or metal sheets that we can slide in underneath and helps protect his finger also. So we might come in from this side. Yeah, the plastic one's a little bit nicer.
Probably slide the other one in there. Makes it better.
There we go.
Bit of protection there from the.
So as you can see, Chris's finger's completely protected. It's stable and it won't move any. So what we'll do is we'll create a cut along the top, and then we'll turn it over and then cut along the other side. Just look away, Chris. We just double check that we haven't gone completely all the way through.
It can get a bit warm, so we just put a bit of water on there.
So we're about 3/4 of the way through now. We'll just do the last little bit. So that's one side done. We'll release it.
There's a few questions here. They're saying, what happens if you can't get something in between? We generally can get something in between the ring and the finger.
We'll just get you
And if for some reason we can't, we haven't really had that. If for some reason we can't, we take it nice and slow, keep things nice and cool with the water as well.
Often get called to hospitals.
Yeah, often we get called to hospitals for this. So the person's presented to the hospital with a ring on their finger or a bracelet they can't remove. The hospital calls us because their tools can't cut these some of these materials.
There we
So
go.
there you have it.
It's now
Come
released.
apart.
Come apart in half, and we can get Chris's finger out safely.
Some of the materials that we come
image.
across, some of the materials we come across can be quite difficult to cut. We've in this instance here, we're actually just using a brass nut, which is quite soft material. But we can come across hard materials like jade, which we showed you before. This jade bracelet, they're quite hard to cut. We get titanium rings and stainless steel rings and so on. Generally, gold rings and silver rings and so on are quite easy to cut.
It's a little ring cutter for gold rings.
Yeah. Another question I think was asked about how busy the station is. We are quite busy here. I think we get about 1,500 calls a year. So on average we get about 4 or 5 calls a day on average. So yeah, it is quite busy here, and we get a variety of work. So not just firefighting, we get a lot of. We had a minor car accident this morning, so That was one job we had this morning already. We do get a lot of ring removals at hospitals. We get a lot of animal rescues.
Animal rescues.
A lot of cats and dogs. And we've even had birds caught in trees. It might sound funny, but some birds can get trapped in trees with string line and so on. So we do get a variety of calls.
And they've been asked before, do you get charged for these call-outs?
There's no charge for any call-outs. So any fires or anything, there's no charge at all. Nothing done for abadan, so it's all free of charge. The only time there could be charges if it's a fire alarm, but that's again, it depends on how many fire alarms you do get in a certain period of time. But generally, there's no charge for fire calls.
One of the other rescue incidents that we get called out to is kids locked in cars or animals locked in cars. So I think Darren over here is going to give us a little bit of a demonstration on what tools we have and what we might be able to do.
That's right. So we've got a couple of cars out the back that we're going to go on and have a look at. I don't know how successful we're going to be. They're a bit, there's no batteries in them. They're prepped for us so we can cut them apart. Got some gear and we'll go out and have a look.
Jack Edmonds says hello to everyone.
Hi, Jack.
Good morning, Jack. Yeah, so often we get calls to children locked in vehicles. A lot of parents let their kids play with their keys as they put them in the car. And little kids love to push buttons, but they don't know which buttons to push to open the car back up once they've locked it. So in the middle of summer, it can be quite an urgent situation. So,
Speak loudly.
okay. Yeah, so here we have it's a beaten up car. This is a training car for us. So we're going to just see how we go and try to passively get into this car. So worst case scenario, we can always break a window and get in rapidly if we need to. But we're going to have a go at using our hooks and bits and pieces to try and fish some keys out from the floor or, get in there. So we've got a big easy kit. So we've got a kit that's very similar to what the NRMA would use. It's called a Big Easy kit. It's got a whole heap of different little things in there. It's got wedges and airbags and little things that we can use to gain entry to a car. So this is position. I'll just get the airbags. We've got the little protection plates. Slide these in position. It's going to be a two-person job.
Yeah.
Can you come over, Nico, with the other wedge? And can you grab another airbag, please, from that?
Another airbag.
Yeah.
So what Darren's doing here is trying to get into a locked car. We could have kids in the car. So for Arabic-speaking community, إذا في ولد بالعربية مقفل بالعربية فينا نفتح الأبواب بدون ما نكسر شيء إذا بنقدر.
All we're trying to do here, guys, is get a gap that we can get a tool in to get like a hook down in to either unlatch the door or get an item off the floor, push a button inside if it's an electronically opened lock. So we can get this little wedge in.
So as you can see, Darren's just creating a little bit of a gap there.
So if you can have a look here.
And
Put
you've
the wedge
just
in
created a
position,
small gap.
and then it'll enable us to. So the keys are on the front seat there, which they are.
He's got his little tool here with a hook at the end of it. I'll just show you this one here.
Which we've just made up ourselves.
So there's a few questions that have come through here. Let me just get into them. Somebody asked here, how long do your shifts last? All permanent fire stations at the moment are on one of two rosters. We either work a 10-hour day shift and a 14-hour night shift, or the majority of fire stations are currently working 24-hour shifts.
And there's the keys.
And that's how we got them. And then we can
open the door.
open the car up.
And we're in. It didn't take too long. In the middle of summer, it's pretty time critical. So if we need to, we can put a cover on the car. We can have the parents of the car talking to the young child, just trying to keep that child calm. And yeah, we're in. There's no glass, no mess. Happy days.
So somebody asked earlier, they asked if all stations have the same equipment. Most stations have the same basic equipment, but here at Burwood we're a rescue station, which allows us to have a bit of specialty gear to do this sort of stuff. So things that we have extra are things to get access to cars in a car accident. Also these little tools like this to do break-ins on cars, and also animal rescues, a little bit of cordage equipment to allow us to lift heavy objects up and things like that. So a few other little specialty things that we use here at Burwood. Romeo, is there anything else you want to add?
Just some fire safety messages. We're just going to reiterate. Obviously, smoke detectors very important in homes. For the Arabic speaking community, جهاز إنذار النار. أكدوا إنه عندكم واحد بالبيت. Make sure you have a working smoke alarm at home. That's one of the major things for fire safety. So, if you haven't got a smoke alarm, contact the fire station. You can pick up fire detectors from different places. If you call your local fire station, you can actually get a home fire safety check conducted at your home, and they can supply you with some fire detectors as well, some smoke detectors as well. Okay, so most of the fires that happen at homes, generally half the fires happen at home start in the kitchen. So make sure when you're cooking that you keep an eye on your cooking. We've got some spatulas there and some wooden spoons that have that message on them. Keep looking when cooking. Make sure if you're going to leave your cooking and walk away from it, turn the stove off, make sure the fire's turned out. So just some fire safety messages that we keep making sure the community hears about. So
Go say goodbye to everyone.
sorry?
Go say goodbye to everyone.
Yep.
Just say goodbye.
Alright, well, I think that's a little insight into what we get up to. Thank you to Romeo for being the language liaison for the Arabic community.
Any questions, just put them through and we can always answer them for you as well.
Yeah, you can send it through to our Facebook page or Fire Rescue New South Wales Facebook page. We're happy to answer, and if you ever need us, 000, that's the number to call. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.